Irwin L. Jacobs, chairman of FLW Outdoors, released an open letter to the public a few weeks back. His intention with the letter was to address the industry and to put to rest any questions, concerns, or rumors surrounding FLW Outdoors. The evolution of bass fishing could not have happened without Jacobs, and as you'll see in this profile, Jacobs is certainly deserving of induction into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Irwin Jacobs has spent most of his adult life involved with the boating and fishing industries. As the standing chairman of FLW Outdoors, he's one of the most well-known names in the business. But he hasn't always been at the forefront of the industry. His initial exposure to fishing was quite unusual.
My dad was a Russian immigrant and traveled with a truck. He used to pick up junk metal and gunny sacks, and he used to travel on the road and had a cane pole in the back of the truck that every now and then as a little boy he used to stop at a lake, and at nighttime we would go out fishing with cane poles and catch fish at the local restaurant and eat sunfish or crappie and spend the night. It was great. It was great. It was just great.
It wasn't until he reached adulthood that he saw an opening into the boating business.
First boat company I bought was Larson Boat Company, 1976, Little Falls, Minnesota. It was a company going bankrupt for the third time. And that's how I got into the boating business. And I bought a bank loan out. The first bank in Chicago was going to close it up for the third time. I heard about it on a Friday. I bought the bank loan on a Monday morning, and I went and made the checks good Monday before they went bankrupt. And it's history. And after that, we started developing the boat business in the early 80s. We became quite successful with Larson in the early 80s. It took us 5 years. And we decided we would go out there and start adding companies.
But he didn't stop there. Wanting to continue expanding his business enterprise, Jacobs saw the natural evolution of potential customers. It was the people using his boats, the anglers.
After looking at the world of boating as we are in it in a big way, it became clear to me that in good times and bad times, you always found the anglers never left, as the recreational people do based on times. They may not be using their boats, but people that fish never stop.
With that in mind, he looked at entering the tournament business and creating a manner in which people with a love of fishing could actually earn a living.
I looked at tournament fishing back in the 80s, and there was supposedly 50,000 fishing tournaments. I couldn't name two, which meant there was so many little ones that, you couldn't even understand where they were or what they did. So I wanted to create the ultimate, the mother lode of all fishing tournaments.
And with that, FLW Outdoors was born. Named after the founder of Ranger Boats, Forrest L. Wood, the FLW Tour started off with a bang when Jacobs announced the signing of Walmart, the world's largest retailer, as the official sponsor, and business grew from there.
Ranger has always been synonymous with the world of bass boats, always. But when we started our tournaments, Ranger was about a 14% market share. Our bass boat group, and I should say our freshwater group, meaning bass and walleye group, they were about 14%. Today, between the Ranger and the Stratus brand, we're 1 out of 2 boats in North America.
Jacobs' next big initiative was to capitalize on the success of fantasy sports and create a very lucrative way to attract new fans to the sport.
I felt that there was a need beyond what we were doing in the tournament world to grow the sport. We've raised the profile substantially the last 13 years. We've given out tens of millions of dollars, at this point hundreds of millions. I mean, we give out $45 million a year almost now in our tournaments, cash. So it's a serious business. But I wanted to reach an audience out there that was not aware of this. And I had looked for that magic thing out there that I thought would bring people to the sport, to see it, and want to know more about it. And the one thing that we found the common thread of exciting people was fantasy sports have become a big deal today.
Despite having achieved such incredible success in the business world, the harsh status of the world economy eventually caught up with Jacobs. In 2009, after years as the industry's top boat seller, Genmar Holdings filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing a drop in revenue of over 50% and a cash operating loss of over $30 million. But all was not lost. FLW Outdoors was not involved in the bankruptcy and continues to flourish, becoming the world's leading tournament fishing organization. And if that wasn't enough, on February 16, 2010, Irwin Jacobs was inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.